Hello, everybody. Welcome to Crushing It. I'm Frederico Lapenda. Today I'm going to interview Don the Dragon Wilson, 11-time world kickboxing champion, 72 fights, 46 victories via knockout. He's also an incredible action star who's been in over 30 films, made millions of dollars. Hey, Don.
Very good. Good to see you again.
Good to see you
Good
too,
to see you
bro.
again.
How's everything?
Great.
Yeah?
Great. Yep.
Kids growing up?
Yeah, the kids are all in college now. And in fact, my daughter is graduating this year. So that's a big
Good for you.
milestone for her
Good
and
for
for
you.
our family.
And any plans to fight again?
My standard line is I'll fight tonight in the parking lot if they got cash. But yeah, there's talk about exhibitions. So that's what's going on. I've talked to a few guys and the audience will know it's not me against a nobody. It'll be another, either a celebrity or a former world champion. Yeah.
How was growing up in Florida?
I love growing up in Florida. Actually, I grew up in Cocoa Beach, Florida, and I enjoyed it. Most of it was good memories. I will say that I grew up in the 50s because I was born in 54 and we came when I was 4. So in 58, we were in Florida. There was kind of like I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a little Asian looking. And I, for some reason, when I was younger, I looked more Asian. If you look at my pictures when I was young, I just looked 100% Asian. And so I was the only one in Florida. They had segregation back in those days. They had the black schools and the white schools. And I went to the white school. And then when I went to high school, they desegregated the schools and they had blacks and whites. So you had blacks and whites, large groups, and then you had one Asian guy. Because my brother didn't even look Asian; he looked Mexican. But for some reason I looked very Asian. So yeah, I found it a little bit rough getting accepted and feeling like one of a group because I look so different.
Is that how martial arts happen in your life?
Not martial arts, but sports. Sports. I found out in sports that if you sink the 30-foot jump shot, they don't care what color you are. You could be a green Martian, I tell people, and everybody's going to cheer and pat you on the back. So I became the MVP of my high school football team and the MVP of the high school basketball team. I excelled in sports to be accepted. And the martial arts started, though, when I was in the Coast Guard Academy. I would come home on leave, and my brother and I we used to box each other for fun. We just put on 16-ounce gloves, no headgear, no mouthpiece, and just box. And so I come home one day, and he gloves up, and he says, "Hey, I'm going to throw some kicks," because he'd been studying karate. He was a Yoshikai karate black belt, and eventually he became Pai Lam Kung Fu. So he studied karate and kung fu, but he was already a black belt when I was a white belt. So you know what happened when we sparred. Even though I was bigger and I was in great shape, but I didn't know what right. He made a believer out of me. I thought if my brother at 155 can kick me all over the front yard, I said, I'm going to learn this. So I went back to the Coast Guard Academy and I started studying Goju Japanese from a guy named Chuck Merriman. And I studied that for a year. When I got out of the Coast Guard, I came back to Florida, studied Kung Fu then. A lot of people used to say, "Oh, Kung Fu is better than karate." And I said, no. If I take Goju, I have to pay for it. If I take Kung Fu, my brother lets me come free. So that was the major motivation. But it turned out to be a good fit for me. The Kung Fu style did work for me. And the master of my style, Daniel K. Pai, was very open-minded. He allowed me to train with others. So I was doing the cross-training even back then. I trained with Taekwondo guys. And
76 fights?
Well, I started fighting in 74, and my first pro fight was in 74, and then I fought till 2002, so that's 28 years of fighting.
How many fights?
72, 5-2 is my record.
72.
So,
and any fight was your favorite when you look back that was more symbolic?
Well, favorite, the big money, my coming out of retirement fight, they paid me $150,000 up front. That's my favorite fight.
Las Vegas, right?
No, that wasn't. I had my coming out of retirement was in Connecticut, I believe. It was in New England. It was in New England.
Which one was that fight I went to in Vegas?
It was in Massachusetts, my coming out of retirement. Lowell, Massachusetts. That was my second fight and the coming out of retirement. I got $50,000, and they had a heavyweight. It was all heavyweights. They said, "You got to fight heavyweight. Nobody wants to see light heavyweights." And I said, "Well, I'm not a light heavyweight, but let's meet in the middle, and that'll be fair. Have him drop down to 195, and I'll go up." And that sounds fair.
How much do you weigh normally?
Probably about 180, about 185 maybe. But so anyway, I was going to go up. He's going to come down. Now, here's the reason why it's not fair, and the reason why there's there's a fight before the bell rings and a fight after you're in the ring. It's the negotiations. He is starving himself to drop down to 195. Dewey Cooper was his name. Great fighter, 25 years old. Now he's a trainer now. He's retired. But yeah, he dropped down to weight. So he saw starved, dehydrated. I saw him. He had the rubber suit. He pulled the rubber suit off at the weigh-ins. All the water. He lost more water in that than I would in a workout. So it was a kind of a, not luck. It's all part of the game. You know, I planned it so that even though I was older and he was younger and he was in shape, he would be weakened because of the weight loss he did. And I would be strengthened because I'd be pumping iron, eating steaks every day, and up to I got up to 190, 190. So.
And what was the biggest lesson that you got from the fight game?
I did it to become a better striker, and I think one of the strange things is I learned how easy it is to knock somebody out. Now, I knocked out 48 people. So if I had never had one pro fight, you could talk about knocking people out.
Where's the button, Don?
Right on the chin.
Right here?
And you hit with your palm. That way you don't break your hand. And I've been in front of judges before when you said, Your Honor, I slapped the guy. If I wanted to hurt him, I would have punched him. So that sounds good, unless he's taking a Don Wilson seminar, and then you're in trouble. Because I tell people, in self-defense, you use your palm. Boss Rutan did a sport called shoot fighting, where they knock each other out with the palm.
But where's the button? Where do you aim?
Chin. I go to the chin.
In the front?
I hit the side.
Side.
I snap the head. I snap it. I try to. So the hooking punches are better for me. The straights, I'm scoring points when I'm going. When you see me throwing jabs and even right hands, but if you see me start throwing hooks, well, you saw that Bronco Sigatic. I threw one right hook, hit him, broke his jaw. When he hit the ground, he landed on his face, so he broke his nose.
I love that fight. Tom Herrick on the corner.
Yeah, they were yelling and screaming. Well, listen, Bronco was a great fighter.
Great guy.
He's a great guy.
He passed away.
Yes.
Very
he did.
sad.
As we get older,
a lot of the guys.
It's
funny because we're here in my backyard and I met Chris Penn the first time with
you. Yeah. My best friend is passed away already.
I know.
He was 40.
Great.
Doesn't that sound young though?
Great actor, right?
Phenomenal actor, and he hadn't done his best work. He had more work to do.
I know. Very sad. Dragon, how was your transition from movies to martial arts?
Well, for me, it was not an easy transition. In the fight game, you don't show anything. No emotion. You don't even show pain. If the guy hits you, if a Thai fighter hits you in the leg and he sees you wince, he's going to go right back to it. And so you don't even show pain. Now, acting, it's about showing your emotions. So I had to loosen up. I had to realize that, I took acting lessons. It may not look like it in my movies, but I took some years of acting lessons, and not just one style, because acting is kind of like martial arts in a way. There are different styles of actors, and they have masters. Like the one that I follow, okay, if this was going to be a master of my acting, it would be Sanford Meisner is his name. It's the Meisner technique. And it basically, the basic thesis of it, or the basic theme of it is, don't worry about how you look, just how you feel, and actually listen to the other person. Don't wait for your cue for your line to come in. Because when you're doing a scene with somebody, they're not going to do every take exactly the same. Everyone's going to be different. And you want to give the director the opportunity to choose which one you go with. So you should react differently for every take. It shouldn't be look like a rehearsed performance. Should look natural and alive. And the Sanford Meisner technique, which Playhouse West was the name of the school that I went to. There was one in Playhouse East, I guess, was the New York style of acting. So yeah, I had a style of fighting and a style of acting.
Was it easy to transition? Was it easy to get your first role? Was it Roger Korman, your first role?
Yeah, Roger Korman. Now, easy. I auditioned, I don't know how many times, but many times I couldn't get anything. I couldn't get a no line. I couldn't be an extra in most of the movies I auditioned for. So it's not easy for anybody. But when the actual getting that role was easy because of Roger Korman. Roger Korman is known to be what they call king of the B movies, producer over 300 movies.
Was that your first film?
That was first starring role.
Yes.
Lead. I played a bad guy in a Chinese movie once.
Right.
And But nobody will ever see that because it's dubbed in. It's not even in English. You know, it was just for the Asian market. But Roger Korman, it was known to be able to see talent at an early stage. And he started off many directors, many actors, Ron Howard, Francis Ford Coppola, James Cameron, Martin Scorsese. He worked with all those guys. Martin Scorsese. He worked early on with Roger Korman, yes. And so he had what they consider a good eye. And so I think I tell people I fooled Roger Korman. He thought I could act. But it was a great scene. It was a great scene for me. Great in the sense that one that could get emotion from me. It was a scene where I find out that a guy that's training me in martial arts killed my brother. And I'm very close to my brother. He's a year and a half older, and we have a very close relationship. He was my instructor. He was my manager as a fighter. And we're making movies together now. He's done 2 movies with me so far. And yeah, we're very close. So when I did that, what they call substitution, that this guy didn't kill my, you know. So it was easy for you to get the emotion. Correct, to get the emotion in it. And it must have been right for that scene. Because yes, he cast me right on the spot. It's not like I auditioned. You know, they have secondary casting calls, and you go out many times, you know, but not for Roger. I mean, I walked out of his office the first time I met him with the script. Right. And I went right to a friend of mine that was an actor and told him that I just got cast in the movie. And his name was Barry Newman. He's a famous longtime actor in Hollywood. Barry Newman's his name. And he said, Don, sit down. I'm going to tell you who this guy is. And he told me who Roger was. And it's really a good thing, Rico, that I didn't know who he was, because I would have been so nervous. So Don, I remember when we started hanging out, and your brother was going through that problem. Yes. Well, he was in prison actually when we met. He got arrested in 1990 for cocaine smuggling, and it was $50 million worth of cocaine. So he got the minimum sentence was 25 years. And he served all his time. And he, after 22 years, because you served 85% federal prison, he got out and started producing movies again. And, you know, he was using cocaine, and that's why he wasn't thinking straight. And, you know, a lot of guys, I think probably a lot of smugglers probably start by using the drug, and then they get it, and then they want to make money while they're doing it. And you know, he went that route. You know, he was my instructor, and owns martial arts schools, was a promoted and managed kickboxers. So we started off in the same area, but I guess, you know, we're from Florida, and he met some people that were in that business, and it must have sounded, you know, it is a lucrative business. I mean, extremely. You know, yeah. Well, with the last, according to the FBI and the DEA, he had $50 million worth in one plane. And that was the one he got caught with, $50 million worth. But that's not $50 million in like truckloads. It was just one twin engine Aero Commander, I think is the kind of plane it was. And so, yeah, if you're an entrepreneur and a capitalist, it's a pretty attractive business. And since he was a user, he didn't feel it was that bad. You know, he didn't feel morally obligated not to import the drug. It's kind of like during Prohibition, you know, people didn't feel morally wrong, so they made millions of dollars, or the criminals made a lot of money during Prohibition. A lot of guys, like I think Al Capone made a lot of money. A lot of famous families in America, because they believed that it was okay to use the drug because they used it, and they believed it was okay to drink the alcohol because they, you know, and alcohol is not a totally safe drug. I mean, you know, the really bad car deaths, and then cirrhosis of the liver, and so I don't know. I mean, I'm not justifying anything else. Well, marijuana is legal now, though. Can you believe that? I have friends of mine that did time, state prison time for marijuana. Now they're taxing it. Now the government's making a profit off of marijuana sales. And Dragon, talking about life a little bit, what was the biggest life lesson you had? I think it was when my best friend Chris Penn died. Yeah. Because the circumstances, Sean asked me, he said, Don, you know, the phone records show that you're the last person he talked to. Because here's what happened. I was on a movie set doing a movie called The Last Sentinel, is the name of it. And it was a sci-fi movie for the Sci-Fi Channel. Everything was going so good the producer of it came up to me and said, Don, you remember that movie you told me your best friend Chris wants to make, and nobody in Hollywood will make it? Tell him I'll fund it. He was so happy about what he said. Just so I was on a movie set. It was like midnight. I call up Chris and I tell him, Chris, I got the money for your movie. And he said, because he wrote a script when he was in high school about a Vietnam vet. Now, this is not a war movie. It's not a fight movie. It's a movie about a guy who finds out he fathered a daughter while he was over there when he was 18 years old.
He had a daughter, didn't he?
He had a daughter that died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his dad was
a director.
But his dad was in Vietnam, no?
No, I don't know about that. I don't think so. I think his father did not go to that. But anyway, Chris's pet thing was Vietnam. He wrote this script about a Vietnam vet who finds out he has a daughter in Vietnam, and the North Vietnamese, of course, were abusing her because she's half white. So she was looked down on. And so he goes and basically rescues, takes her out of there, brings her back to America. So it's kind of like a love story between a father and daughter. And but the reason Hollywood producers didn't want to make it, Rico, is because that's not the image they want. The image they want is like the movie Green Beret, or like what was the one that Oliver Stone did, Platoon, or the Americans are. They didn't want a movie that was going to show that we went over there and did this damage to the Vietnamese society. Had nothing to do with the war of these people. This girl and the prejudice. And anyway, it was not popular theme. But anyway, so we're going to the life lesson. Chris was in the best mood of his life. He, matter of fact, so good. He said, Don, and I had some money then because I was making a movie. He said, Don, could you get a trainer to come live with me and help me lose the weight? I want to lose he weighed 310.
I remember.
He said, I want to lose all this weight. I'm going to because he was 168, I believe, when I met him. He was lean.
Yeah. He had good hands, right?
Yeah, he's a good boxer. Yeah. Good boxer. Couldn't kick, but he could punch, and he had the attitude. But anyway, he wanted me to. He was going to lose the weight. He was going to direct his lifelong dream movie, and everything. Like he had all these plans. He hung the phone up. He died of a heart attack that night.
At 40.
At 40.
I remember.
Yeah. Now the thing is, the life lesson I learned was this: if you have anything you want to do or accomplish, don't put it off. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. We're not guaranteed I'll make it home today. I mean, be the person you want to be right now. Don't say, oh, someday I'll be the person I want to be. I'll be respectful. I'll be this. You have all these plans. You may never get there. So just do and be and experience life as you want to today. Don't put it off. Yeah, that's the biggest life lesson I've in 68 years. And I don't put things off anymore. No. If I want to do them or accomplish them, I'm going to be in the ring again. This thing didn't exist in my day where they get an old guy who used to be something and pay you money. If I told you the money, you'd slap me in the face. You'd say, what are you doing over here? Go back in the gym, start training right now. Ben Astrup, the former UFC guy.
Yeah.
He didn't even go on a diet for the fight he had. Now he's going with the YouTuber, Logan Paul. Gets knocked out the first round. They paid him up front $500,000. That was the guarantee. $500,000 and he didn't last one round. So that's the kind of money they're throwing around. And so, yes, I will get back in that ring one more time.
For sure, huh?
Yeah, I believe this is probably the first time I've ever said it in public. So, yeah, but because now look, I don't want to just jump at the first offer. You know, I mean, I did call Mickey Rourke up already because that was the first one that looked like it was going to happen.
You and Mickey?
Mickey Rourke, yeah, just boxing.
Hands?
Just boxing.
Yeah.
Now look, you know, Mickey is one of the first celebrity stars I met when I was in LA because he had the same trainer as me, Bill Slayton. I think you knew Bill. Yeah. Yes. Well, that was right. I went to his gym and Mickey was there, and that's where I met Mickey. And he's a great guy, and we are friends. But we're not going to be doing a fight. It's an exhibition. It's just sparring. And people say, well, you got to watch. Look, if things get exciting, I will rise to the occasion. But my goal is not to knock out Mickey Rourke. You know, I mean, he's an actor. And he's a friend. But people might want to see it, though.
Yeah.
That's just it. They want to see how good he is against me. And so that's one that may happen. And there are other ones. And it's, we spoke before about how these UFC guys cuss each other out there. I was never angry with a single guy I fought. I had no ill feelings for any of them. Why would I need that to knock them out? I don't. If I spar Rico right now, I'd knock him right out. No,
I have to take you down.
No, he'll choke me out. He'll crank me. He'll crank my neck.
Actually, a wrestler. I don't think I'm ready to take you down.
Well, the point is, I don't emotionally have anything against Mickey or Tim Witherspoon's another name that came up. He's already offered to fight me in an exhibition. And, he has enough of a name. He was a former world champion. But he is a heavyweight. And he's been in the gym ever since he retired. And he's not my first choice. So there is going to be some... Van Damme actually made an offer through a intermediary person, a person that trains with him and knows him as a friend.
Exhibition or a fight?
They're all exhibitions. The athletic commissions cannot say this is a real fight.
Got it.
With the judges and what they call them exhibitions. We're called exhibitions. But if I get in the ring with JeanClaude, you know what I call him? JeanClaude Van Damme. But no, but the only thing I ever had against him, because I love his movies. He's great. Is he's claimed to be a kickboxing champion. And he's never been a kickboxing champion. I don't even know if he's had any pro fights. And name his 5 top opponents he beat. Yeah. Bronco, Marie Smith,
Peter Art,
Dennis Alexio, Peter Arts. No, his would be more like who is that guy? Roman Decker. No, even at his size though, I put my money on Roman Decker.
My God,
right. But the point is, if Van Damme and I get in a ring, we'll probably try to be respectful to each other. I assume. Yeah. I don't think he's going to try to. If we get a set of rules, he will follow them. Because what if we say there's no elbows and he throws an elbow? I think you can see why they call me the Dragon. but those are the kind of things I'm still considering. It's never over till it's over. I'm still breathing.
I have a friend of mine who lives nearby the park that you go every day.
Oh, okay.
And he calls me, goes, "Your friend the Dragon is here jogging again."
Yes, I do though. I still go to that park. It's right by my house, and one time around is 0.6 miles. So it's you run it 10 times, you've done 6 miles, and I usually go 5, so that's 3 miles. I shadow box the whole way. I listen to music. I got my headphones on. It's not like the old days where I was. I even look at my pictures when I was a kickboxer. I don't smile. There's no smiling in any whenever you see me posing. And I remember, I tried to remember, I said, oh yeah, I wasn't thinking. Like I have a serious attitude about fighting back then. It was not something like today. I looked at them as targets. And I built up and not a hate for them, but a willpower to, I'm going to hit them. I'm going to do damage to their chins or their legs. Or what the boxers call me the body snatcher.
It's the angry dragon.
Not anger, but determination. Like boxers call me the body snatcher. They didn't call me Down the Dragon. They said Down the Body Snatcher because I knock guys out to the body in the gym.
Liver punch?
Yeah, or solar plexus. I tell them there are 3 targets, and no one, including myself, can protect all 3. Here. And I'll go upstairs just to get this to lift up a little to sneak under. When it comes to my hands, the best thing I do, maybe my inside fighting even matches my kicks, but when I get in close. And so what do boxers do with me? Fighters do this with me. It's been my whole career, 28 years. They see the kicks and they say, he's winning by scoring points. You got to get inside on Dom. You got to get inside. So what they do is they fight their way, they block the kick, they come in, and then there's a mid-range. The mid-range is worse for me. That's my weakest. When they get to the mid-range, I close the gap. Now we're in close range. And like I said, I'm a king of close range, even with pro boxers, heavyweights. They had a cruiserweight pro, top 10 rated South African boxer come to the gym one day. Nobody wanted to spar him because I train in boxing gym. So I'm the guy who spars all the strange guys. So I go, Don, go in there. We'll see what kind of guy. And I hit him. He dropped, got up, and he complained to my trainer. He said, he hit me in the heart. My trainer said, he hit you in the heart. It was Pat Goosen, the Goosen brothers. Yeah. He goes, he hit you in the heart, And one guy told me this, though. One boxer, he was Mike Tyson's supposedly sparring partner in Vegas. Heavyweight. He goes, nobody wanted to spar him in the boxing gym. So this is the big boxing gym, the 10 Goose, the one with Mayweather's trains in there. Pat's brothers, were big promoters. So nobody wanted to spar him. So they said, Don will spar him. I get in there. So I get in there, and the guy goes to Pat. He goes, tell him not to hit me in the nose. And then Pat goes, well, that's a pretty tall target. This is right in the middle of your face. But the guy told me not to hit him in the nose. But, of course,
you had to.
Yes, I had to. First of all, he was about 250 pounds of muscle, in shape, coming from Vegas, and he's used to sparring Mike Tyson. So, he's used to unloading. Since I'm not going to be able to take that kind of punishment, I had to hit him hard, and I knew right where to hit him. He got mad and left. He left the gym.
Dragon, my man, so good to see you, man.
Hey, it's great to see you.
Can't wait to see you in the ring again.
Well, you can always see me in the movies, Rico. I'll go on and on and on. And one day, listen, he makes better movies than the kinds that I'm in. He makes film festival movies. Now mine don't win film festivals, but they make a profit, though. They make a profit. But one day we should do something together. That's my goal. My goal is we are going to make a project together. Even if I get the money and I'm getting ready to do it, I might call you on as a producer for your contacts, and we'll work together to make it a success.
I want to be in the Dragon business.
Well, he may do it one time. No, you know what? I'm an aberration in Hollywood because I worked 12 movies with Roger, 6 movies with PM Entertainment. So that right there is 18 starring roles for 2 people, 2 companies. And then I did Ashok Armitage and Andrew Stevens. I believe we did like 6 movies with them. So I'm a producer. I don't work with a lot of producers.
Dragon, my brother.
But this is my next one. Yeah.
Good to see you. Okay, guys, that was Don the Dragon Wilson at Crushing It. See you next time.